so giving, so sacrificial, so sensitive. I mean, this is someone who really gives a lot to the Lord. She's going to be talking today a little bit about compassion. And so with that, I'm going to read a scripture. Let's look at Matthew 9:35 through 38. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. How often do we feel like that?
Yeah.
Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into the harvest fields." And with that, I give you Erin.
Come on, Erin.
Good morning, church. As Jerry said, my name is Erin Baumbach, and I'm a part of our amazing singles ministry here in the Seattle church. And I get the privilege to share with you all today what the cross means to me. And I think the cross can mean different things at different times of our lives. There's always something that we can extract from it because it's something that we're constantly reflecting on, as Christians. But I just want to share a little bit about myself. So I grew up in a family that was always very hardworking, hardworking people that started basically from nothing to make something great. My mom actually put herself and her twin sister through private high school. She worked full time and went to school, and then she went on to actually go to school full time and also put herself through private college. My father grew up, farming and started farming with his father, and they started from basically nothing and made a profit off of farming. So my family taught me what it meant to be proud and to really work hard. And they also taught me and raised me, not to take flack from people, to stand up for what I believe is right, And with being proud, it can also come off as being very arrogant and sometimes lacking compassion. And growing up, there was also a lot of anger and a lot of bitterness, I think probably from hope being deferred, times when the crop wasn't great and we were struggling financially, or when work was getting intense and putting in those extra hours, and my family was divorced, so my mom raised us as a single mom growing up. But there was a lot of anger and a lot of quarreling and fighting, some angst, and it really just led to bitterness and deeply seated anger in my heart. And I felt like it was this weird battle going on within me, because I felt like God had given me, this soft heart to really have compassion and to take care of those that were less fortunate than myself. I was always the one on the farm that was like the fern, that wanted to save all of the little animals that were dying. So I found myself, I thought I was a very compassionate and a very loving person. But with this, type of background of having kind of this pride as well as having this compassion, it was kind of this dichotomy in my heart that created a battle within me, which really was kind of entitlement. And it was really what I saw was that it led me to have selective compassion for people that I felt deserved compassion. This is a character that I still struggle with, even as a disciple, being a Christian for more than 10 years now. There's times when I can feel like I'm selective in who deserves compassion. But Jesus wasn't selective. He wasn't selective on whom he showed compassion. He showed it to everyone, and no matter how right they thought that they were. In Luke 6:32 through 36, Jesus says that we need to love everyone, not just those that are easy to love, but the ones that are hard to love. And in Romans 12:1-2, it says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." In order for me to have compassion, I needed to be in view of God's mercy for me. And he saw me as harassed and helpless. when I think about what the cross means to me at this point in my life and my walk with God, it definitely means compassion. Compassion for everyone. And being in view of God's mercy, and how does God view that person? No matter if they think they're right in what they are saying or what they're preaching or what they're feeling, to have compassion on them.
That's awesome.
And the ones that are really hard to love, that can be very prideful. Because I think a lot of times, for me, when someone spikes up their pride, that's exactly what I want to do, is I want to fight with pride as well. But that's not what Jesus would do.
Yeah, come on.
So I want to leave you with this quote. It says, "Compassion is an action word with no boundaries." That was written by Prince. But it really is. Compassion is an action. It's something that we need to put into action as Christians. It's something that I want to continue to put into action with no boundaries. Thank you so much for letting me share what the cross means.